Welcome to the second podcast on flexibility in our series of The Perfect Match, joined by Isabel De Clercq. People are less productive when working from home. What do you think? Is that true? Is that false? Is it something in between?
First of all, I have the impression that we have to prove that people are more productive when they are working from home so that they are allowed to work from home. Isn't that a bit strange? Number two, just today in the Flemish newspaper De Tijd, there was a reference to new research done by Federal Reserve Bank of San Francisco that there is neither an increase or a decrease of productivity when people are working from home unless you work full-time from home. There's like one guy that we all should follow when you are interested in the topic of working from home. That's Nicholas Bloom, professor at Stanford University, studying the topic since 2014. He released research in November 23, and he said productivity effects of working from home are likely to unfold over the next months and years. So we don't know it yet. That's point number one.
So you might also say that paradoxically, we might again return to time registration because it will help people to monitor their time and productivity.
I think that maybe people should monitor their use of their time.
As so you do, by the way.
Yes, I do. I follow a strict scheme. There is a lot of beauty in discipline, efficiency, and in focus on focus. In another Flemish newspaper, De Standaard, last weekend, there was an article. I was really angry when I read it. It was about our attention for attention is just a capitalist slogan because it means that people have to work more. And I said, that's a really strange way of seeing the things. I think that focus for focus and attention for attention is about taking care of yourself because it means if you work in an efficient way, truly contributing to important tasks and not just attending unprepared meetings, it means that you can end your workday at a normal time. And so you have time left to do other things, to develop other skills that have nothing to do with work and to invest your time in relationships. So there is a lot of beauty in focus for focus and not working endless hours.
Again, I think it's very important that you talked about discipline and time. Also, the example that you gave earlier or in the first podcast was if you want to take a break from work between 4 and 8 to be with your kids, that's fine. If you have the discipline then to work from 8 to 10 to do your mails or whatever, that actually makes sense. So it's catering for everybody's individual needs, but will require a lot of discipline or using tools to do that because otherwise we'll be on all the time.
And I have to say that this topic of constant interruptions and our addiction to dopamine is very interesting, going from instant to delayed gratification. And then, of course, the solutions are like swimming in cold water, taking cold showers, but also just reading books instead of scrolling on Instagram. But there's a huge way to go and a lot of efforts have to be taken. But also, I was reading on Monday a book written by Erin Meyer called Culture Map, and it's about differences between countries. How in countries people look at leadership. Do we need egalitarian leadership or hierarchical leadership and everything in between? And of course, this also applies to cultures of organizations. One thing is for sure, if you have an extreme hierarchical organization, then hybrid ways of working really does not fit because it will lead to more monitoring of time and controlling people.
And affect productivity in the end.
But on the other side, we have egalitarian leadership. And there I think that the problem might be that we are in a kind of a period of transition where new team agreements have to be made. And so if you end up leaving everything just to the team, instead of setting the clear playground, our relationship with work should be healthy, creating added value for the customer, and we need connectedness with colleagues and the organization, then we will also have some problems. We are all learning. We are all looking for good ways of working, and we have not found them yet.
Productivity is, like you said, something that evolves over time or unfolds over time. It's also very much a team-related issue. You're productive as a team as long as the boundaries and the purpose are clear. And then a lot of democratic principles apply. We can share, we can respect each other in that. Does that make sense?
Yes. There's also something like what I call the tyranny of the team. The tyranny of the team is that now we think that we always have to be together. And so there's the tyranny of synchronous communication. And so one of my favorite topics and where I see a solution for a lot of issues is asynchronous communication, which is just slower communication. I write things down and you just take the time to read it, to reflect upon it. And then we come together. So meetings should be interesting moments of true connection, not just pushing information.
I'm going to close off this episode, but we'll pick that up in the next one. Thank you, Isabel.